My name is Olivia. I'm 23 years old, and for most of my life, I thought I had everything a girl could ever want. A fiancé who loved me, a family that supported me, and a sister who was my best friend. We grew up in the suburbs of Denver, Colorado. My parents owned a local bakery that did pretty well, and we weren't rich, but we were close. Sunday dinners, backyard movie nights, the family vacations to the same tiny beach house every summer. But the best part of it all? Chloe. She was 2 years older than me, and yeah, we fought like all sisters do. But she was my person. The first one I'd run to when I had a crush. The one who stayed up with me during finals week in high school, helping me study. The one who helped me pick out my prom dress. We shared everything, our clothes, our secrets, even our stupid childhood dreams. So when I met Liam in my senior year and things turned serious, Chloe was the first to know. She was the one who encouraged me to say yes when he asked me out. The one who cried with me the night I told her I thought he was the one. The one who screamed and hugged me when he proposed to me last fall, right in front of that same little beach house our family rented every year. She was thrilled. Or so I thought. At first, wedding planning was everything I dreamed of. I wanted something elegant, but simple, soft lilac colors, long wooden tables, fairy lights under the stars. Liam didn't care much about the details, but he was supportive. Sweet. The way he always had been. And Chloe? She offered to be my maid of honor before I even asked. She practically took over the planning, venue scouting, catering tastings, even dress appointments. I'll admit, it was a bit much at times, but I figured she was just excited. She loved being in control. She always had. I didn't mind. Until things started to shift. It was subtle at first. Chloe started making little comments about Liam. Innocent-sounding things, but odd. Like the time she said, "Wow, I've never seen a man like Liam stay loyal this long. You sure he's not hiding a secret kid?" She laughed when she said it, but something about the way she looked at me afterward made my skin crawl. Or when she whispered to me, "You know, Liv, sometimes men propose to the safe option, not the one they really want." I laughed it off, told myself she was just being her sarcastic self. She could be intense, dramatic, but she'd never hurt me, right? Then came the late-night phone calls. I started waking up to find Liam already in the living room at 2 or 3 a.m., talking quietly on his phone. When I asked, he said it was work stuff. Emergency site issues, he said. He was managing a construction project that had run into delays. I believed him. But the way he locked his phone afterward, the way he avoided eye contact, it started chipping at me. Still, I trusted him. And Chloe was still acting like she had our backs. She helped me pick my dress, held me when I cried about my stress, told me she loved me over and over again. But something felt wrong. I couldn't explain it. It was like this tiny pressure building in my chest. Like I was missing something obvious, and the more I tried to ignore it, the heavier it got. Then, the moment that should have made me happiest felt like a betrayal. My parents had arranged a little family dinner, just the 4 of us. Me, Liam, Mom, and Dad. Chloe invited herself last minute. She said she had something to share. She showed up glowing with a soft smile, hands over her stomach. And I swear, I already knew. Before she even said it. Before she stood up and said, "I'm pregnant." Silence. We all blinked, confused. My mom said, "Wait, what?" And then, Chloe's eyes turned to Liam. "It's Liam's." I froze. I heard the words. I saw her lips move. I watched my mother gasp, my father grip the table. But in that moment, I felt like I left my body. Liam didn't deny it. He just looked down, said nothing, and suddenly all those late-night phone calls, the cold distance, Chloe's weird comments, it all made sense. I stood up. My heart was thundering so hard I thought I'd pass out. I looked at Chloe, my best friend, my sister. She had tears in her eyes. Crocodile tears. It was a mistake, Liv. A terrible mistake. It happened. And I didn't know how to tell you. She reached out to me. I stepped back. And Liam? That coward couldn't even look at me. He just said, I'm going to take responsibility. For the baby. That was it. That was the moment everything broke. My parents sat in stunned silence. Chloe started sobbing. Liam tried to explain. But I wasn't listening anymore. I grabbed my coat, walked out of the house, and I didn't speak to any of them again for 6 weeks. But what they didn't know was I wasn't just hiding. I wasn't grieving. I was planning. Because something didn't add up. And I was going to find out what it was. Even if it destroyed everything. 6 weeks. That's how long I disappeared. No calls. No texts. No explanations. Not to Liam. Not to Chloe. Not to my parents. They could live in the mess they made. I stayed in a small Airbnb 2 towns over, with nothing but a suitcase and a journal. I didn't cry like people expected me to. I didn't drown in ice cream and Netflix. I just observed every lie Chloe told, every silence Liam offered. I replayed everything in my head like a movie, and slowly, the illusion began to crack. At first, all I could feel was the betrayal. But then I started noticing something else. Something that made my gut twist more than the affair ever could. Chloe's pregnancy didn't add up. I wasn't stupid. I knew how it worked. I knew the signs. But Chloe? She wasn't showing. At all. Not just her belly, her whole energy. No nausea. No fatigue. No food cravings. No swollen ankles. Just perfectly manicured photos of her glowing at bridal boutiques, gushing about her miracle baby on social media. At first, I thought maybe she was early in the pregnancy. But then I realized. It had been almost 3 months since she claimed it happened. 3 months. She should have had appointments. Blood work. At least 1 ultrasound. So I started digging. I still had access to her shared calendar. She'd forgotten to revoke it. Rookie mistake. There were no doctor's appointments listed. No OB/GYN visits. Not even pharmacy reminders. But what I did see was interesting. A lot of appointments are labeled SBA, hair, and bridal shoot. Seriously? Who books 3 maternity shoots before the 2nd trimester? Something wasn't right. I called the nearest clinic she likely would have gone to under the name she always used. I told them I was her sister and asked if she'd had an appointment recently. They paused. We don't have a Chloe Monroe in our system. I called another clinic. Same result. That's when I felt it. That jolt in my chest. Not heartbreak, no, that had already come and gone. This was different. This was the birth of something else inside me. Cold clarity. Still, I needed proof. Real proof. Not just feelings. So I did what any betrayed woman with a Wi-Fi connection and a lot of anger would do. I went through her Instagram stories. In one of them, she proudly showed off a sonogram in a silver frame on her dresser. Zoomed in, paused it, and screenshotted it. Then I reverse searched it. Turns out, it was the first image that pops up when you search first trimester ultrasound on Google. She'd just printed it and framed it. Fake. I sat back in my chair, staring at the screen. I felt a strange calm wash over me. She lied. She didn't just steal my fiancé, she fabricated a child to trap him. And the worst part? It worked. A week later, I created a fake email account and messaged her posing as a prenatal vitamin supplier. She replied in minutes, asking if the pills would make her look pregnant fast. I had her, not just in lies, in writing, but I wasn't ready to confront her. Not yet. Because the more I watched, the more I realized Chloe wasn't just trying to get Liam. She was trying to be me. She started dressing like me, copying my makeup, using phrases I used with Liam, reposting old quotes I'd once written in love letters. It was disturbing. I wasn't dealing with a jealous sister anymore. I was dealing with someone deranged. someone who wanted my life, my identity. And now, she thought she'd won. She walked around with that smug little smile, wore a fake bump for bridal fittings, posted captions like, "Sometimes the path to happiness is unexpected." Yeah, unexpectedly stolen. I started building a folder. Every screenshot, every email, every fake sonogram, every lie. A digital paper trail of deception. A digital paper trail of deception. I even found a text she'd sent to one of her friends, the same one she never thought I'd see. It read, "She was too soft to keep him. All I had to do was fake a baby." Easy. I stared at that sentence for hours. I wasn't soft anymore. So I waited. I let her think the wedding was still happening. I let her prance around with my stolen ring and stolen man. I smiled when our mutual friends sent me invites, just in case. And while she posed for bridal photos and ordered fake belly pads off Etsy, I was planning something far more permanent than a wedding. I wasn't going to ruin her day. I was going to redefine it. Because she wanted a moment she'd never forget, I'd give it to her. There are moments in life when everything slows down. Not in a poetic, romantic way, but in that terrifying, gut-twisting, "is this happening?" kind of way. The night my sister announced she was pregnant, and that my fiancé was the father. It was exactly that kind of moment. But I never told you the full story, because what happened after that dinner was even worse. It wasn't just that Chloe betrayed me. It was how everyone else chose her. After I walked out that night, I didn't hear from my mom for 2 full days. When she finally called, her voice was gentle, like I was the problem. "Honey, I know you're hurt, but the baby's innocent. We have to support her." Support her. My sister faked her way into my relationship, slept with the man I was supposed to marry. And now my mother wants me to support her? I said nothing. Hung up. Threw my phone across the room. The next call was from Liam. He didn't apologize. Didn't ask how I was. He just said, "I didn't mean for any of this to happen. But Chloe's pregnant. What do you expect me to do?" You know what I expected? Loyalty. Honesty. Decency. All 3 were too much for either of them. 2 weeks later, Chloe posted her announcement photo. A perfectly staged picture. White lace dress. A fake bump is barely visible. Liam was standing beside her with a hand on her stomach. And the caption. "Sometimes love takes unexpected turns. Baby Monroe coming soon, 2 hearts." I stared at that photo for a long time. I thought I was angry before, but this made something snap. That same week, she sent out wedding invitations. To their wedding. They were getting married at the same venue Liam and I had booked. On the same date. She didn't even change the theme. She was wearing the dress I picked, using the photographer I had a deposit on. She even called the wedding a healing moment for the family. I felt like I was watching my own life, but from behind glass. Trapped in a silent nightmare while everyone smiled and called it progress. My father texted me. "I know this hurts, but Chloe's our family too. Come to the wedding. Be the bigger person." Be the bigger person? After everything? No, not this time. I wasn't going to beg anyone to see the truth. I was going to show them. So I kept watching, observing Chloe's every move. Her bridal shower. Her fake baby registry. Her cringeworthy mommy-to-be posts. And behind every post, every lie, was a pattern. Chloe wanted eyes on her. Applause. Pity. Envy. She didn't want to be happy. She wanted to be seen as the winner. I dug deeper. I reached out to one of her ex-friends, Kayla, who she used to party in college. Turns out, Chloe once pulled something similar. She faked a pregnancy scare with a professor she was involved with. Not because she loved him, but because she wanted him to leave his wife. When he didn't. She told everyone he harassed her. He lost his job. Chloe moved on. And now here she was again. Different man. Same manipulation. Kayla sent me screenshots, old messages of Chloe bragging about how easy it was to get sympathy when you say you're pregnant. One message read, "Men are dumb. Tell them they got you pregnant, and they'll do anything to keep their reputation." She knew Liam. She knew he had a hero complex. that he'd never walk away from a child. So she used it. She used him. She used me. She used all of us. By now, I had everything I needed. Proof of the fake ultrasound. The email she sent asking for belly padding advice. The text to Kayla. Photos of her drinking wine at a party 3 weeks into her supposed second trimester. I even found a selfie she took in a dressing room, flat stomach, time-stamped just a week before the bridal shoot where she posed cradling her fake bump. She didn't cover her tracks. Because she didn't think she had to. Because she thought I was gone. That I was broken. But I wasn't. I was patient. And my patience had a deadline. Their wedding day. Because if she wanted my life, then she was going to get the ending she deserved, too. Not with rings and roses, but with the truth. Right there. At the altar. After I gathered the last piece of evidence, I disappeared again. But this time, not because I was broken. This time, I disappeared with a purpose. To them, I was just licking my wounds. Heartbroken. Embarrassed. Weak. But what I was really doing was studying. I deactivated all my social media. Got a new number. Changed my email. Not even my closest friends knew where I'd gone. I rented a studio apartment 2 hours away and paid in cash. No digital trail. No distractions. Just silence and planning. I printed everything. Every screenshot. Every fake message. Every time-stamped photo. I made 2 thick folders, 1 digital, 1 hard copy. I labeled the front. The truth they buried. While Chloe was out there hosting gender reveals with fake pink balloons, I was building a timeline of her lies. She even made Liam do a photo shoot, kissing her fake belly under a daddy-to-be banner. They looked so proud. So certain. So doomed. A week later, I made my first move. I created an anonymous email account using a VPN. And I sent Liam a simple message. The baby's not real. You've been played. You'll find the proof in the attached file. Think twice before you say I do. No name. No threats. Just the truth. He never replied. But I got the read receipt. He opened it. And still, the wedding plans didn't stop. That told me everything I needed to know. Either Liam didn't believe it, or he didn't want to. Either way, he was now part of it. Not just a victim. A willing participant. Which meant he deserved whatever was coming, too. But Chloe? She still thought I'd just vanished. She was on social media 24/7, painting herself as the poor pregnant sister whose evil sibling ran off in shame. She posted a black and white photo of us as kids. Captioned, "I miss you every day, Liv. I wish things could have been different, broken heart." The comments flooded in. "You're so strong." She was just jealous. "You're glowing, mama." I read every word, smiling, because the more sympathy she got, the sweeter the fall would be. I called Kayla again, the friend who gave me all those messages. Asked if she still had that clip Chloe drunkenly recorded back in college. The one where she said, "If I ever really wanted a guy, I'd just tell him I was pregnant. Men are stupid." Kayla sent it over. 30 seconds of Chloe laughing into the camera, slurring her words, holding up a beer. I could fake a baby in my sleep. Perfect. That was going to be my opening act. Now, all I needed was access. And Chloe handed it to me on a silver platter. She posted a photo of the wedding venue, an upscale vineyard with an outdoor pavilion. The same one I originally booked. The same one I had paid the deposit for, months before she stole everything. And in her story, she wrote, "Can't wait to say I do here next month. Manifesting a perfect day, ring bride with veil, medium light skin tone, female sign, wine glass." So I called the venue. Used my old account. Same name. Same reservation. Told them I'd be stopping by the day before the wedding to check on last-minute details. They said, "Of course, Miss Monroe. We have your access code." They never even updated the name. That place still belonged to me. I visited it alone the day before the wedding. It was beautiful. White chairs lined the aisle. Floral arch in full bloom. String lights wrapped around oak trees. A small projector set up near the bar, probably for their slideshow of love. How poetic. I smiled. Slipped the USB drive into the port while no one was looking. Tested it. Worked perfectly. I left a second copy in the DJ's booth, hidden behind a backup speaker. Just in case. Then I walked away. No guilt. No sadness. Just focus. Because tomorrow, Chloe wasn't just getting exposed. She was going to face every lie she ever told. In front of Liam, our family, and the people who spent months praising her while calling me pathetic. Tomorrow wasn't their wedding day. It was their reckoning. And I wouldn't need to scream. I wouldn't need to cry. All I needed. There was a screen. A crowd. And the truth. I didn't sleep the night before the wedding. Not because I was nervous, but because I couldn't stop thinking. How poetic this all was. The woman who stole my life was about to wear my dress, say vows to my fiancé, stand at the altar built from my dreams. And she was walking into it completely blind. The day of the wedding arrived like a movie scene. The sky was clear. The sun is gentle. A perfect breeze swept through the trees. Everything looked perfect. Exactly the way I had planned it months ago. Back when I thought Chloe was just my maid of honor. Not the one sharpening the knife behind my back. But now, she was the bride. And I was the guest. Sort of. I arrived early. No one noticed me, at least not at first. I wore a soft blue dress. Hair pulled back. Minimal makeup. I looked calm. Too calm. Like I belonged there. The venue staff assumed I was part of the family, someone who'd made up with the bride last minute. I stayed in the back. Hidden behind rows of white chairs, sunglasses on, heart steady. I watched guests arrive. Some looked awkward when they saw me, some smiled nervously. But no one said anything. Because deep down, they knew. Something was about to happen. Chloe made her grand entrance 20 minutes late. She always had to be the center of attention. She wore my dress. Tailored tighter, probably to emphasize the bump she had strapped to her stomach. She even placed her hands protectively over it as she walked down the aisle, like she was carrying a child made of gold. Liam looked stiff in his tux. Not glowing. Just trapped. He scanned the crowd as she approached. And for a split second, his eyes found mine. I didn't smile. I didn't nod. I just held his gaze until he looked away. The ceremony began. The usual fluff, how love conquers all, how every soul has a match, how life begins anew in shared vows. I almost laughed. Every word felt like a cruel parody. But I waited. Patient. Focused. Steady. Because I knew what was coming. Then the officiant said the line. If anyone here has reason why these two should not be wed, speak now. And I didn't say a word. Not yet. Instead, I stood up. And walked calmly, slowly, toward the side stage where the AV technician sat. He looked confused. Nervous. I leaned down, smiled politely, and whispered. Time to play the surprise tribute. He blinked. I gave him the file name, Forever and Always.mp4. And then I stepped back. Into the crowd. Into silence. And waited. The screen lit up. Soft music began, like a sweet wedding montage. It opened with a photo of Chloe as a child, laughing innocent. Then teenage Chloe, smiling, holding up a peace sign at prom. Then, a text overlay appeared. Sometimes the truth hides behind the smiles. The guests murmured. Then came the screenshots. The first fake ultrasound matched side by side with the Google image she copied. Then the text Chloe sent to her friend. All I had to do was fake a baby. Easy. Gasps. Then the email where she asked a supplier, "Do these belly pads make me look 5 months along?" Someone in the crowd shouted, "What is this?" Liam stood up. Chloe froze at the altar. And then came the final clip. Drunken, laughing Chloe in a grainy college dorm. If I ever really wanted a guy, I'd just tell him I was pregnant. Men are stupid. I could fake a baby in my sleep. The screen went black. Silence. Then, murmurs. Shouts. Chairs shifting. Cameras flashing. Chloe's face turned pale. Her mouth moved, but no words came out. Liam backed away like she was radioactive. I walked slowly down the center aisle. Every step is deliberate. Every stare is burning. When I reached the front, I looked Chloe in the eyes. And said, just loud enough for the mic to pick up, "You didn't just fake a pregnancy, Chloe. You faked a life that wasn't yours. But here's the part you couldn't fake. The truth. Then I turned to Liam. You knew. Maybe not at first. But you chose to marry a lie. So now, live with it. And I left. No tears. No screaming. Just silence and heels clicking on marble. Behind me, the wedding fell apart. People yelling. Chloe sobbing. Liam is shouting at the DJ. But none of that mattered anymore. Because revenge wasn't loud. It was quiet. Precise. Deadly. And this? This was just the beginning of their downfall. You'd think the moment the truth hit that screen, that would be the peak. But no. The silence after the video? The seconds before the scream started? That was the real moment of power. It was the silence of realization. The collapse of illusions. The collective gasp of 70 people realizing they'd been lied to. By Chloe. By Liam. And by their own desire to believe a fairy tale built on betrayal. I walked out of the venue while the room behind me crumbled. But before I could reach the parking lot, I heard it. Olivia. Wait. I didn't stop. Liam chased after me, his voice breaking, his footsteps frantic behind mine. Liv, please. Just listen. I turned slowly. Not because I cared what he had to say, but I wanted to see the regret on his face. And oh, it was there. His tie was crooked. His face was pale. Sweat was clinging to his forehead. He looked like a man who had just watched his future catch fire. I didn't know, he stammered. I swear, Olivia, I didn't know she faked it. She told me she was pregnant. I thought. I cut him off. You thought what? It was just a one-time mistake? That sleeping with my sister behind my back while planning a wedding with me was forgivable. He looked down. I was stupid. I was scared. No. You were selfish. Just like her. And then I said something I'd wanted to say for months. You and Chloe deserve each other. He flinched. I didn't want to lose you. I laughed. Cold. Hollow. You lost me the moment you touched her. And with that, I turned and walked away. For good. Back inside, the wedding was in ruins. Guests were leaving. Chloe was standing near the altar, surrounded by scattered rose petals and whispers. Mascara streaked down her cheeks. She kept muttering, "It's fake, it's all fake, she ruined everything." But the truth was, I didn't ruin her wedding. She did. She ruined it when she lied. When she manipulated. She decided that being the bride was more important than being a decent human being. By evening, the photos were already online. Clips from the projector. Screenshots of the texts. The video of Chloe laughing about faking a baby. It spread like wildfire. Wedding guests posted on TikTok. One captioned, "Went to a wedding and ended up at a live episode of Lifetime." Another, "When the bride's sister drops a bomb that makes everyone walk out flush face bomb." People ate it up. The story went viral in our city. By the next day, Chloe had turned off all her socials. But it didn't stop there. Chloe lost her job within 48 hours. She was a PR coordinator for a women's wellness brand. They dropped her the minute the story gained traction. We do not condone manipulation or fraudulent behavior. Her influencer brand deals? Gone. Her planned baby shower? Cancelled. She tried to tell people it was a misunderstanding. But screenshots don't lie. And I made sure everyone saw them. Liam didn't fare much better. His company removed him from his project indefinitely. His mother, who once told me I was like the daughter she never had, called to say she was ashamed of him. He tried to reach out again a few weeks later. Sent me flowers. Emails. Voicemails. You were right. I was weak. She tricked me. I miss you. I made the biggest mistake of my life. But I didn't respond. I didn't need to. Because by now I had everything I needed. Freedom. Closure. Silence. My parents eventually called me too. This time, they didn't defend Chloe. They apologized. Cried. Said they had no idea how far she would go. My mother sounded broken. My father, defeated. And in some twisted way, I didn't feel satisfaction. I felt peace. Because this wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about truth. About reclaiming the voice Chloe tried to steal. About reminding everyone that I wasn't weak. I was watching. Waiting. And when the time was right, I struck. Weeks passed. Then months. Life moved on. I moved on. I got a new job. Started therapy. Reconnected with friends. Found myself again. And no, I'm not better because Chloe fell. I'm better because I stopped letting other people decide my worth. Because I rose from the ashes of the life she tried to take from me. Not quietly. Not bitterly. But on my terms. So, if you ask me now, would I do it again? Would I blow up a wedding to expose the truth? Yes. 100 times yes. Because lies may build a ceremony. But the truth ruins it in front of everyone. And I didn't just ruin their wedding. I ended the fantasy. And walked out stronger than ever. It's strange, isn't it? How quiet life becomes after a storm. No more backstabbing texts. No fake baby announcements. No pretending to smile while dying inside. Just quiet. Just me. Just freedom. It's been almost a year since that day. Since I ruined their wedding. Exposed my sister for the manipulative liar she is. And left Liam staring at the wreckage of the life they tried to build from the pieces of mine. And let me tell you, I don't regret a single second of it. But I didn't just walk away from them that day. I walked away from everything that had been suffocating me for years. The need to always keep the peace. The fear of being too dramatic. The pressure to forgive just to keep the family together. No more. When I left the venue that day, I didn't cry. I didn't even look back. I drove 2 hours with the windows down, the dress I wore wrinkled and stained, my hair wind-whipped. And I felt alive. For the first time in months, maybe years. I didn't feel like someone's daughter. Someone's fiancé. Someone's shadow. I just felt like Olivia again. The next few months were slow. And healing? It's not linear. There were nights I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering how I missed it. How I could have been so blind. How the two people I loved most could do something so calculated, so cruel. There were days when the loneliness hit harder than the betrayal. But I leaned into it. I let myself feel everything. The rage. The grief. The betrayal. The shame. And once I let it all out, I started rebuilding. I started going to therapy. At first, it felt weird. Like I had to convince myself I deserved to feel this hurt. But my therapist said something that stuck with me. You're not crazy. You're just tired of surviving in rooms that demanded your silence. And she was right. So I stopped being silent. I started writing again, something I hadn't done in years. I journaled everything. The memories. The red flags I missed. The dreams I had for that wedding, my wedding. And page by page, I let them go. I moved into a small apartment downtown. No Liam. No Chloe. No family drama. Just a little studio with peeling paint, soft light, and enough space for peace. I got a new job at a startup where no one knew my story. And it was the first time in years I didn't feel like I had to shrink myself to fit someone else's idea of good. I laughed louder. Dressed how I wanted. Said no when I meant it. It felt like rediscovering oxygen. Chloe tried to contact me, you know. She sent emails, voice notes, and even a handwritten letter once. Said she was sorry. Said she missed her sister. Said she was in a dark place and acting out of pain. I didn't reply. Not because I wanted to punish her. But because some bridges don't just burn. They turn to ash. And I have no interest in rebuilding something so toxic just because we share blood. Liam? He tried too. Sent flowers every month for 3 months straight. Different colored roses, always with the same card. I wish I had chosen you. But here's the thing. He did choose. He chose silence when I needed truth. He chose comfort when I needed courage. He chose her not just once, but every time he lied to my face. And now, I choose myself. A few months ago, I started traveling. Not far. Just a little weekend trip to the mountains. Or coastal towns where no one knows my name. I'd sit in tiny cafes, reading a book or journaling with a cappuccino, watching strangers walk by. And I realized something. I used to think I needed closure from them. That they owed me a final conversation. An apology. A confession. But the truth? Closure isn't something they give. It's something I took back for myself. I don't need revenge anymore. Not really. Because revenge was never about hurting them. It was about reclaiming my voice. About showing the world that I wasn't weak, wasn't passive, wasn't naive, that I saw through the lie and chose the truth, chose myself, chose freedom. I'm not telling you this story so you'll think I'm strong. I'm telling you this because maybe you need to hear it. Maybe you've been betrayed by someone you trusted. Maybe you're trying to forgive someone who isn't sorry. Maybe you're still wondering if the pain is your fault. It's not. And you don't owe anyone your silence. Not family. Not lovers. Not liars in white dresses pretending to carry babies that don't exist. You owe yourself the truth. And the truth will set you free. So now, I sit here. No ring on my finger. No toxic people in my life. No more pretending. Just me. And for the first time. That's more than enough. Because of freedom? That's the best revenge of all.